Welcome, everybody, to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Carolyn is amazing. She's a doctor, she's a naturopath, she's an herbalist, she's an acupuncturist. She's going to tell you exactly what she would do if she were in your shoes. I can't think of a person who has devoted more time to helping people's health than Dr. Carolyn Dean. She can make a huge difference as you listen to her words of wisdom. We know she's ahead of time because she is the doctor of the future. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean. Hey, Carolyn.
Yay, Ginny.
Hey.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. I did not wear anything, but I am saying the words.
Very good.
And my Scottish ancestors would probably turn over in their graves.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But we're Americans now, so we don't have to worry, right? We just get in the vibe of whatever's going on. And this right here is the vibe right here with Dr. Carolyn Dean every Monday night, talking about the most amazing things in the whole wide world, which is your body, your health, and your ability to work with any situation or any condition, address your nutrient deficiencies, and move on and be happy, healthy, holy, wealthy, and wise, right?
That's right.
I got it. Very good. Everybody, this is Dr. Carolyn Dean. And for those of you who are just encountering her for the very first time, she is a force to be reckoned with, I will definitely say. 50 years. She's been leading the natural health community from all around the world, starting in Toronto, in New York, now in Maui, but she doesn't let her physical location limit her to how she can influence the entire world, really, and this field on how to use nutrients to address health conditions. She's the author of The Magnesium Miracle and many, many, many other books, which we're going to talk about tonight. And we're happy to have her with us this evening. We're going to be talking about all kinds of great things with her. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Thank you, Ginny. I'm just lining up our items for the 1 hour that some people say it should be longer, but you know what they're saying about social media, that people can only stand 30 seconds of information. So I think we're pushing it with the hour. Don't you?
Could be. I mean, when somebody's as fascinating as you are, I think they have time for more than 30 seconds.
Okay. And also, I mean, what Ginny told me in the beginning was that several bits of the show are going to be clipped and they'll be put on social media. So we'll be getting the information out there however we can.
Yes, absolutely. And you're podcasting, Carolyn, with so many different guests and guest hosts. You're all over social media. Anyway, you're on Spotify. We're on X again. More coverage on X with our live show on X. We're on YouTube. You have so many different ways that you can talk to people and influence them about all the things that you're well versed in, and also answer questions from the public, which we do here on our live streaming on YouTube. If you have a question for Dr. Dean that relates to the topic she discusses tonight, feel free to chime in and we'll put those up for you and have her answer right on the spot. And she can do that because she's got it like that. So that's right. She's got it in the kidneys. That's right.
So the first thing we usually talk about is the book of the month club. We're still on Death by Modern Medicine, and because this week's blog, which you can see at drcarolyndean.com, this week's blog is the final 3 chapters of Death by Modern Medicine. So this is, I think, the 6th blog. So you won't have to read the 600 pages. We've got chapter 13 is death by lifestyle. And how important is that, where we keep on saying to people that the stress in their lives, the fact that they don't get downtime, and we've set ourselves up in this way. Everybody's divorced, so there's two families, the kids are ferried around. There's so much stress with that sort of lifestyle, which means nobody's at home cooking meals, so everybody's eating out. And what do we know about eating out? They mainly tempt you with sugar. Most of the food is made with seed oils, and that's become a big topic because the seed oils, compared to the fats like butter, coconut oil, olive oil, and omega-3 oils, the seed oils are omega-6, and they are pro-inflammatory. You need a bit, but not too much. Something broke in there, so I stopped. So with lifestyle, Ginny, it's like we all know what we should be doing to be healthy, but we're not doing it. And what people are kind of thinking is, well, maybe if I had an app, or maybe my phone will tell me, or maybe I should get a gym membership. Maybe I need some prodding. But I think what we say is, if you can ground yourself with a good magnesium to relax your muscles, to help you sleep, to reduce the stress on your adrenal glands, and stop the brain fog and the brain gramophone thoughts, even just starting with our magnesium, which is picometer stabilized ions of magnesium, you have a grounding. And then with the extra energy you have, and you're rested, etc., then you can make a meal. Maybe my hack today should be that when you cook a meal, cook a huge amount and freeze half of it or 3/4 of it. Soon you'll have your freezer stacked with ready-made meals. There's your hack.
Very good.
So lifestyle, we can get our hands around it if our physical body is feeling a bit better than we know it is right now. And chapter 14, death by character assassination. I do talk about in the book how a sugar lobby group in Canada got after me. Well, I guess it was in the early 90s, because I was on a national Canadian TV show, the Deanie Petty Show. It was quite famous back then. And I was talking about sugar. It was the Christmas season. They had a whole slew of school kids in, and I brought sugar and containers. So I spooned out 10 teaspoons of sugar, and I said, "This is what's in your can of soda." And the kids were horrified. I don't know. I mean, I guess they knew sugar was bad. And then I spooned out 15 teaspoons to show how much was in a milkshake. And for those reasons, somebody in the sugar lobby group sent a complaint to my licensing body. Didn't send the complaint as a patient, which is what it's supposed to be. But anyway, that's back in the early 90s. You talk about people being canceled and shifted. That happened to me because of sugar. And where are we now with the whole sugar business? We are finding out that it is the basis of so much ill health, basis of diabetes, inflammation, blindness, kidney problems. The amputations in people who have diabetes it's just criminal. If doctors would sit down with their patients and say, "Stop eating sugar, it's a poison," we might be saving lives. And the last chapter, 15, I call it the future of thought. So I forget what I said here, but it's about the hypnosis, the disinformation that is said to the information. It's all about what's happening right now. The nephew of Freud, he was the person who did all the propaganda. I think I talked about that in an earlier chapter. But we're in a disinformation society. When I'm talking about the various articles later on in our show, I don't even know if they're true. Half of what I say from these articles may be not true. So what we all have to do is get a sense of the scale of, does this sound reasonable or does this sound far-fetched? We really have to be discerning in how we take in information.
Carolyn, I have a perfect segue for that with the customer question, and I'd like to interject it right here if you don't mind.
Perfect.
I had a colonoscopy today. I asked the gastroenterologist. This is a question. I had
not you.
Okay. No. I had a colonoscopy today. I asked the gastroenterologist if he saw any signs of yeast overgrowth. His response shocked me. He said, yeast overgrowth is not a real medical condition or a diagnosis. It's an internet clickbait kind of thing. And our listeners saying, I'd like your perspective on this.
Wow, that's really sad. Yeah, because they could be able to see it because yeast overgrowth, you see white coated tongues. Women get yeast vaginitis. It could show up. And what happened in medicine is when we started using penicillin back in, I guess, the 40s, within months of using this new antibiotic, doctors recognized the overgrowth of yeast and fungus in their patients. They knew it was there. But because I guess it's doctor created, doctors don't want to admit that they're doing something wrong. So they've put it aside. Then in the 80s, when Dr. William Crook and Dr. Orion Truss wrote their books on yeast overgrowth, they talked about how they'd gone to their medical societies and said, look, there's this thing, yeast overgrowth. We're using antibiotics to kill off good and bad bacteria in the intestines, and the yeast then will grow up into the vacuum. We've got to do something, and we've introduced too many corticosteroids, and that's harming people and causing more yeast. We've got a diet high in sugar and carbs for people, and that's creating yeast. They had all the information, and their medical society said, no, we can't go there. And when their books were published, then the medical society started saying, well, that's just a fad. They haven't done their research. They haven't done the science behind it. And there have been studies, but of course, who's going to put up the $1 million for a clinical research on yeast overgrowth? But it is a real condition. It is something that most of us suffer from. I had yeast overgrowth for many years, and it wasn't until I created a formula and worked with silver that I balanced that out. But to say that it doesn't exist and it's just clickbait is really horrible because you're denying a person's desire to learn about themselves, to work with the doctor. That she brought it up was very good. And then you find out that the doctor is blocked from looking at the possibility. It's just common sense that if you're killing off all your bacteria, something else is going to grow up in the space. And there are yeast antibody tests. I set up a lab up in Toronto in my private practice, and I worked with yeast antibody tests and food allergy tests for a few years. But I thought just a questionnaire was enough for me to know that a person had been exposed to enough drugs and chemicals and sugar diet to allow yeast to grow. You think of fungus and mold, they will grow overnight.
Right.
So we have the cousin of fungus and mold in our intestines, yeast. They have purpose in the large intestine to break down undigested food. And I think they create some things. I don't know what, but when the budding yeast in the large intestine get enough sugar, etc., uh, and a vacuum in the small intestine, they will change into a thread-like form and grow up into the small intestine, poke holes in the small intestine, cause a leaky gut, and then the yeast breakdown products, of which there are 78, including zymogen, which causes skin symptoms like psoriasis. They create alcohols and aldehydes. Acetaldehyde is a poison. So there's just too much information to be ignored, but doctors will continue to have their blinders on. So
Very
there.
excellent. Excellent. Very good. All right. Fantastic. Going on to, past the chapter review 13 through 15 of Death by Modern Medicine, Carolyn, you're saying that this is the end. So then next week we're going to be popping in with a whole new series.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Very good. Excellent. What else are we going to talk about tonight?
Well, we usually then go to the MAHA agenda, where you and your team, and I suppose I had something to do with it, created the 14, what do you call them, Ginny? The 14 factoids? Tell me.
The themes where there's commonality between you and our national movement to make America healthy again.
Right, right. So we're on number 11, and it's community engagement and education-driven resources. So when I wrote the pamphlet about these, I think the team gave me the themes, and then I wrote some words about it. And I was talking about, how important it is, fostering health conscious community, et cetera, et cetera. But you have to have someone like me or Ginny, someone in the community to spearhead this sort of thing. I don't know that, and it can happen. And I'm saying I don't know how easy that's going to be. I have experience over being at this for 50 years of people coming up to me, veterans groups or hospital groups, school groups. Oh, let's do this and that. People want me to be on their board to spread education. And about the board membership, I always say, well, if you're ever funded by a drug company, I'm out of it. I'm gone. And invariably, that's what would happen. Either the drug company would get wind of, oh, there's this group forming, maybe I can control them with my money, or another member of the group would have an association with a drug company. Well, look, we can get some free money. Nothing is free. So it's almost on a small community basis, and that's what the theme says. It says community engagement. So you have to be the community. You have to be the organizer of the community. I've been in Maui now for 17 years, and I've held back. I do all the internet stuff and work with the company and work with the farm, organic farm up country. But I never got involved on the community level until just this year, when I just see after 17 years, the people around me, they're getting more hunched over, they're getting sicker, they're all on medications. And I thought I could tell them stuff, because I don't push my agenda. But now I see people asking me. So I'm starting to do a monthly lecture in the community, because we do have to take action We do have to educate with what we know, and help sort of neutralize the disinformation that's out there, because
Yeah.
most nonprofits and charities are funded by drug companies, big food, big pharma, and they have a different agenda than making America healthy
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to see now. And you said last week you met with everybody. How was the response? Everybody was probably pretty inspired.
Oh, they were. Julie and I, when we do our morning hotel walk, and we see some people who were there. Oh, thank you. It was wonderful. And Julie yells out, and the crowd cheered. So we had about 50 people that that was what the room held, and it was in the Wailea Healing Center, where they do all kinds of wonderful things, massage, yoga, etc. So it's going to draw a nice community of people. And I do get asked questions now, and I tell people, oh, you can talk to Julie. And we're spreading the word.
That's fantastic. Excellent. Excellent. So there's Dr. D making America healthy again, as per usual. Outstanding. Outstanding.
And one of the things we're at the questions and comments section of the program right now, and one of the things that just came to mind at the market, a grandmother, a beautiful young grandmother, told me her daughter was almost getting into pneumonia with a sinus infection and a cough and lungs. And one of her two twin granddaughters was also quite sick.
Mm.
And they hadn't gone to antibiotics. They had been examined, and they asked me if I had any input. And I just happened to have, of course, a nebulizer that I use quite frequently, and a silver. And I brought them. That actually, it was a day before my talk.
Okay.
And at the talk, I handed over the nebulizer and the silver. And the next market day, I learned that in overnight, the granddaughter's symptoms just stopped, but they kept using the nebulizer another day or two. And in 3 days, the daughter's symptoms cleared up.
Yeah.
And they were just blown away. And I'm blown away too when I hear things like that, but I know they're real and I know they're true. And this is what everybody could be doing, what everybody should and could be having in their medicine cabinet is a little handheld, portable nebulizer. You can take it on airplanes, and you can just put our silver is not preserved. It's self-preserved, so it's been cleared by the FDA to be self-preserved. And you just pour it straight into the well of the nebulizer, turn on the button, and just inhale through a little mask. It's so simple.
It is simple. It is simple. It's an elegant solution. And I think that that's probably what reflects so much about our products and the products that you've designed, is that they are so in tune with nature and also with consciousness, whatever that is, that it's just amazing how well the body receives them. Just amazing.
Yep. Common sense, Ginny. Common sense.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Very good. Excellent. All right. Very good.
So, helpful hack, as I mentioned already, a potential hack, but what I want to follow up on is me losing 4 pounds on my 4-food diet. The 4-food Dean diet, I call it. Seriously, it was a Tangelo, nice, beautiful Tangelo, or 2 tangerines, boiled egg, our protein powder. I almost said the name, but we're not allowed to name our products, and an avocado. On the avocado, I'd put some Hawaiian hot sauce. And those 4 foods, I could spread them out through the day, or I could put my egg and avocado together. And seriously, after it was like 7 days. Yeah, I lost 5 pounds. And now what I'm doing is one day I'll do my usual intermittent fasting where I don't eat until noon, and I'll eat my main meal around noon, and then I'll have another meal around 5, and I stop eating at 7. And I can do that very easily because I take all my dietary supplements, my picometer minerals, my food-based vitamin C and extra ascorbic acid, my omega-3 algae, and my vitamin D3K2. I think I've got everything there. There are several minerals that I take. I take silver every day because people are coughing and breathing all over everything. So it's just a nice immune booster. So that's my diet hack for, let's say, this year, because everybody's changing all the time, but I kind of like it. One day of the 4-food Dean diet, and the second day will be intermittent fasting with 2 meals. So that's the hack.
That's fantastic. I'm going to try it.
And I think I said previously that it doesn't have to be those 4 foods, but two protein foods, and the avocado also is a fatty food, a sweet food, the Tangelo, and everybody really should get our protein powder, because
Yes.
with that alone, 2-3 doses a day of that could be your fast.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. I've done that many times and been successful.
But even on both days, every day, I do take a tablespoon of psyllium seed powder.
Yeah.
Because I'm not eating as much bulk, so I need the bulk for my bowel movements. But you also need extra fiber for your microbiome. The microbiome lives off fiber, even psyllium powder. So you've got to get that fiber in there.
Very good. Outstanding. Well, I love that hack. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, what do people talk about day in and day out but their diets? It's just who we are as humans. We're never happy with the weight we are.
That's right.
Okay. Right. Do you have anything on the chat line, or will I dive in?
Let me look and see if we've got any questions here. There we go. Bonnie's asking, what's the best way to hydrate during the flu? I have Remag, but wondering what other things might help me rehydrate.
Chicken soup. Yeah. Chicken soup, I think they've done studies showing there's something in there that's good, but you can buy chicken broth and just warm that up. But I would season it because it's pretty bland. So you don't even have to take time to cook a chicken and, boil it down. So I keep a couple of cartons of organic chicken broth in the freezer for times like that. And I'll just do some chicken soup, and maybe you could put a little vegetable in it just for the fiber. And when you do your water, if you're putting our vitamin C powder in your water, that has a cherry flavor. So that could help you hydrate. But yeah, lots of fluids to flush out whatever it is.
Very good. Excellent. RJ, who gave you the comment earlier, Carolyn, about the yeast overgrowth, said, thank you so much for sharing your perspective. It was so frustrating for me since I was tested by my naturopathic doctor and tested positive for high levels of candida. So I'm sure she didn't like the rebuff, right? Because you kind of feel dismissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know that we'll ever get to the point where allopathic doctors recognize yeast overgrowth, because it does not require a patented drug. So that's what you have to know as well. Well, if it's really real, should my doctor tell me about it? You only learn about diseases where there's a drug that can be slammed onto it. And that's that's a true statement.
Yes. What's real is the drug. And then after that comes the disease. That's exactly right. That's right. Now, somebody's asking, I'm restarting my magnesium and I need to start slow. How do I mix that with water? So, of course, I think that's a pretty straightforward answer, right, Carolyn?
Yeah, you just put it in your water, in your sea salted water, because the sea salt will give it a nice taste anyway, and will diminish the bitterness of the magnesium. And I don't know your situation. I don't know how slow you have to start, but gauge it as you will. We say on our label, start with a quarter teaspoon. And some people will say, "Oh my gosh, I feel so much better. How much are you taking?" A quarter teaspoon a day. And that's only 75 milligrams. But it's 75 milligrams. It just goes right into your cells and gets to work. But if a person comes to us and they're on a dozen medications with a half a dozen disease conditions, we say go slowly, but see if you can even work up to 2 and 3 teaspoons, which is 600 to 900 milligrams. I had to take 1,200 milligrams to get rid of my heart palpitations. So this is what our customer service is for, to just hold your hand through that process, not as your doctor or to give a diagnosis or tell you what to take in terms of medications. We will never tell anybody to stop their medications, because you can take natural dietary supplements along with your medications.
Yep. Very good. Now, on the topic, Sydney, who's a new listener tonight, is saying, do you have any suggestions for blood clots? What would you say, Carolyn, to that person?
Well, the Japanese go into something called nattokinase, NATTO kinase. I mention it in some of my books. Personally, if I had a blood clot situation, I would be drinking as much water as I was supposed to. The guidelines are cut your body weight in half. If you're 100 pounds, cut that in half and then take 50 ounces of water a day. And in each quarter liter of water, put a quarter teaspoon of sea salt. If you hydrate, your blood does not coagulate as easily. If you take magnesium, your blood does not coagulate around calcium. If you're taking calcium, your blood coagulates. If you don't exercise, your blood coagulates. You hear about the blood clots that people develop when they're on long plane flights. You have to get up, you have to be drinking, and it's difficult because when you're drinking on a plane, you have to get up and use the bathroom. So blood clots are not just out of the blue. Oh my gosh, where did this come from? Dehydration, too much calcium, not enough magnesium, and then the natural substances. Magnesium is not a blood thinner, but it will neutralize the calcium, and the calcium is actually a blood clotting factor. And things like nattokinase, I mean, there are enzymes, there even it might be omega-3s. Ginkgo biloba, for example, is a natural blood thinner. There's a whole list of nutrients that some surgeons will say, well, you can't take these a week or so before your surgery because they thin the blood out too much. So if you're looking for a natural blood thinner, maybe look at those substances.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Very good. I did not know ginkgo biloba was a legitimate product. I thought it was something funny. So here again, I'm learning something from you. I thought it was just like some kind of strange thing. I've never heard you talk about it before.
No, I've never said the word to you. Ginkgo biloba. It's a leaf that's shaped like this. It has a very narrow neck and then spans out. It's like a fan. Ginkgo biloba. And some people that say, oh my gosh, look, it's a ginkgo biloba leaf. I didn't know we even had them growing.
Oh,
So
yeah. In Maui, they grow there?
I don't know, but that, I've heard that response from people that it's in their neighborhood and they never even knew it.
Very good. Very good. And Sydney's saying, thank you so much for the tip about calcium. She did not understand any of that. And that calcium and also a lack of exercise coagulate the blood. She did not know that.
Right. Good.
And also,
it's just tools. It's just common sense tools that your doctor doesn't have time to tell you this. You don't learn it in school. You don't. The books you pick up now on health are so narrow-minded about take this product or take another product. So I guess partly what our show is giving you some common sense tips.
now with that magnesium and exercise, can you also take sea salt when you have high blood pressure? Sydney's asking that.
It's not a matter of taking it extra. What you're doing with sea salt is taking what we should be getting in our water. Our water is supposed to come with minerals. And what we've done to it at the water cleaning stations is we've taken the minerals out as well as the toxins and the poisons. So there's nothing left. Most bottled water, if you turn the label, it's actually distilled water. It has nothing in it. So we, with a quarter teaspoon of sea salt in a liter of water, and maybe you'll be drinking 2.5 liters of water a day, you're just replacing the minerals that your body is desperate for. That's what it is.
Very good. So that's wonderful. Very clarifying. All right, Carolyn. Well, I think we're all caught up. What would you like to talk about next?
Well, here's a silly little article about magnesium batteries. And it's got nothing to do with health, but to me, it's like the miracle of magnesium. In an online site called Echo News, ECO News, in February, they mentioned magnesium batteries, and they said scientists have announced the world's first car-compatible magnesium battery in a world first breakthrough. The battery can potentially transform the automotive industry and spell the demise of hydrogen fuel cells. This article delves into the technical details of this landmark breakthrough and what it holds for future energy storage and electric cars. So I just thought it was really cool. Magnesium wins again. There's no point in me going further into the article. You can look it up yourself. You have the title there on the slide. So I just think magnesium is amazing, and it can do so much. It can do everything, right?
Correct.
Okay, now here's a big topic. Are you ready for it?
I am.
I got to take a drink of water.
Very good.
Let's talk about how the next pandemic is unfolding, Ginny.
Uh-oh.
Now, this may get us canceled, but we're not even monetized, so it matters. But here's a recent title on MedPage today. People can spread bird flu to their cats. I saw this title in dozens and dozens of news outlets. Clickbait, pure gold clickbait. So avian flu or bird flu has been on the horizon since it was first recognized in 1878 in Italy. And now the H5N1 strain of bird flu, which has caused numerous bird flu outbreaks, was first identified in a goose in Guangdong, China, in 1996. So just go and look up how many laboratories are in Guangdong, China. In the US, by 2024, someone decided it would be a good idea to slaughter 150 million chickens to stop bird flu leading to the egg price inflation. And I think it was between 2022 and 2024, they were killing all these poor chickens. Now, it sounds like a lot of chickens, Ginny, but I think every year for food, 8 billion chickens are slaughtered.
Oh, wow.
And sent to Costco. So there's a lot of chickens out there, but they wanted to stop the bird flu. But back to the article about the cats. So I start saying, with humans endangering cats, will we have to slaughter humans? I don't know. So because they're trying to say, oh, now the cats have it, soon the humans will have it. So they mentioned the case of a dairy farm worker who supposedly was infected his cat, and one cat died and the other cat lived. So what does that bring up to me? It's about what they're feeding cats. Cats are getting jabbed. Cats are getting fed carbohydrate kibble, which Eugenie says it's not good for them. So cats and humans are both suffering dietary indiscretions, and our health is being affected.
Correct.
So the next article, this would be Article 3, no, maybe Article 2. It's about the Alliance of Natural Health with a flu update, a bird flu update. And what they say here, it's interesting. They say the government has a blueprint for government-controlled medicine to sidestep RFK Jr., Bobby Kennedy. They report that the CDC is trying to get ahead of RFK Jr.'s desire to give us more health autonomy with their One Health framework that centralizes authority over public health decisions, potentially limiting independent research, open discussion, and medical freedom. So this again is the government, the FDA, and CDC trying to form this One Health. It's they're rolling it out as part of the public health response to bird flu, mirroring the previous epidemic playbook. The One Health approach sets the stage for greater government control, mandated health policies, and reduced medical autonomy. So we should all be following and supporting the Alliance of Natural Health. This is the main and only activist health group that I know the people personally, and I support them. So then in the next article, Mercola enters the bird flu fray with his article. It's titled Bird Flu Deja Vu from the Previous Epidemic Playbook. So public health officials are responding to bird flu, the H5N1, using strategies similar to the previous epidemic, including extensive PCR testing and fear-mongering, leading to significant food supply disruptions and price increases. That's the egg prices I imagine they're alluding to. And the USDA, Department of Agriculture, has granted Zoetis, I guess they're a veterinary supplier, drug supplier, Zoetis, a conditional license for a jab. I'm not going to be saying the V word ever on this show. A license for a jab for chickens, despite the CDC stating that H5N1 is at a low risk to humans. Studies show that chickens can develop natural immunity to this virus, suggesting mass culling, mass slaughter is unnecessary, while evidence indicates that depopulation efforts actually increase the risk of chicken to human transmission. Yeah, I think it's because the humans are in there slaughtering and killing, and they're, creating a lot of vapor and mist in the air that they're inhaling. Health authorities are pursuing RNA jab development with HHS, giving Moderna $590 million for human H5N1 jabs despite concerns. But I've heard that Bobby Kennedy, his organization has put a pause on that particular research. And then finally, I thought I was done with it, but on MedPage, there was an article titled, "To the Pandemic Czar, Are We Prepared to Talk About Bird Flu?" And the subtitle or the next sentence is, "Effective communication across all levels of government is as important as a jab." They don't say jab, they say the V word. So the threat of a widespread human outbreak of bird flu is on the horizon, and with it, the potential for a pandemic. Fear, fear, fear. The next pandemic, whether from the viral strain circulating since 2022 or something else, let me see where I am, may not be preventable. But its worst impacts are avoidable. Minimizing harm depends not just on pharmaceutical innovations like rapid testing and jabs, but also on having a public willing to deem these innovations as worth it. You hear this? Public willing to deem these innovations worth it. Are you scared enough?
Yeah, that's right.
Deem these innovations. Serious, they're saying these words right in our face. So I say the communication this article desires is to get people ready to be very scared of bird flu and to wait for the jab. They have learned nothing from the previous epidemic. There is nothing about promoting good nutrition, good nutrients that keep the body healthy so you don't succumb to infection. So then this is the fifth item. I thought it was done. But here's what I saw this weekend, a title on Medscape: "The first human H5N1 death in the United States." That's the beginning. So that means we've had all this energy put into the terrible plague of bird flu amongst us, and they finally found a human death. So, just hold on. We're in for a ride. What do you think, Ginny?
I just think I have confidence in all the people who said no to all of the extortion and coercion and BS that we've been through, and they're looking for something new. So I think it's not going to be adapted because they came out with something else in 2023. I just don't think people are going to take it up. I don't think they're going to buy in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I mean, there are some who are going to be, they're afraid of Q-tips,
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they weren't afraid of Q-tips that they kept shoving up your nose to do the
That's right.
the testing. Right. I mean, who knows what damage they cause. But anyway, so that's that. Any questions? I have one last topic. Maybe we'll do that.
The question that's the real important one is, but isn't it true that if we are healthy inside, our bodies can fight so many things?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those workers who were killing the chickens, they should have gone home and nebulized silver, my silver. I mean, that would have, there are no preventatives that are being offered in allopathic medicine today. They even said, oh, we have to wait for the innovations of jabs and whatever. And oh yeah, we're going to put the mRNA right into all these jabs now. And they are.
Well, it's interesting, Carolyn, what you just pointed out. The workers may be getting sick, but they're not dying. They had to go all over hell and whatever to find one person who died. Yeah. So it's not going to work. And we have our wonderful Pico Pet products, and we can treat our animals just like we can treat ourselves. And we just have to continue to spread the word and let people know what's available to them. But yeah, we're not going to go down this rabbit hole.
Right. So the next topic is about fascia.
Yay!
I know. So fascia, it's the thin layer of connective tissue. There are two types. There's a superficial one under the skin. And when I get myofascial massage, I started doing it in the 90s in New York. These people, they can run their hand along and find little areas that are tethered down like a tent peg and rope. And so that's superficial, but then there's a deep fascia that surrounds deeper muscles and organs. And the fascia provides support and structure, forms an interconnected network that surrounds and penetrates every muscle, nerve fiber, bone, tendon, ligament, and organ. And it has its own nerve network. So if it has its own nerve network, it's susceptible to nerve damage. And since magnesium drives nerves and muscles and makes them function properly, if you have a magnesium deficiency, your fascias can be affected. It's that simple. So I knew the term fascia from anatomy in med school, but not that it had a function or that it could cause health problems or that it could be treated for these health problems. And I think medicine only began focusing on fascia when some researchers discovered a new cell type that they called fasciocytes. So fasciocytes. I said fascia, but it would be fasciocytes. And this was in a PubMed publication called, and the title of it was "A New Cell Devoted to Fascial Gliding." Now, here's what's interesting. In the abstract, they talk about there's hyaluronic acid, and this is hyaluronan, hyaluronan. Hyaluronan occurs between deep fascia and muscle, facilitating gliding between these two structures, and also within the loose connective tissue of the fascia, guaranteeing the smooth sliding of adjacent fibrous fascial layers. It also promotes the functions of the deep fascia. In this study, a new class of cells was found. It has features similar to fibroblasts. However, they have distinct morphological features, and these cells represent a new cell type devoted to the production of hyaluronan. Since hyaluronan is essential for fascial gliding, regulation of these cells could affect the function of fascia, so they could be implicated in myofascial pain. And a Mercola article called Unveiling Fascia, the Role of Connective Tissue in Pain and Mental Health Treatment. They go into fascia and talk about the fascia movie. You can look up the fascia movie and see if you want to watch that, exploring how fascia, along overlooked connective tissue, forms a continuous network throughout the body and is crucial for health, pain perception, and movement. So it's pretty complex, and I made a list of things. Fascia contains 6 times more nerve endings than muscles, making it a key player in pain perception and body awareness. And it's filled with these special fasciocytes and creating a lubricant. Plays a vital role in immune function and fluid dynamics, responsive to hormones, particularly estrogen in women, and it may explain gender-specific health issues. I didn't go into that. Fascia forms continuous lines of tension and connection throughout your body, linking seemingly unrelated areas. And what are the nutrients that fascia needs? Protein, like collagen protein. I'll have to look into that. but magnesium, which helps with muscle relaxation and fascial elasticity, but also magnesium is important in making this hyaluronan. Vitamin C, which makes collagen, helps with pain, inflammation. B vitamins, especially biotin and folate, which help with collagen synthesis and tissue repair. So, as many of our customers will say, there we go again. You put up the fascia, and I'm doing the protein. I'm doing your protein powder. I'm doing your magnesium. I'm doing your vitamin C. I'm doing your B vitamins. So I got your fascia covered. But also it's movement and exercise, and even some, deep tissue massage, or some of those rollers that you roll along your body, because if you're pressing down on muscles, but not in a way to cause pain, but pressing down, so you press down and sort of move it back and forth and move forward and back, and see if it's stuck. If it's stuck, you just do a little more movement. It's quite fascinating. So there's the fascia, Ginny.
Yay! I saw the fascia movie. My chiropractor introduced me to it because he wanted to show me how animated and anticipatory the fascia is. That it was actually showing the fascia reacting and anticipating throughout the body, that it's actually ahead of us. So that could be the quantum aspect of who we are, that there is no time and the body's sensing and signaling and that kind of thing. But fascia is very, very fascinating. And I've had that same kind of massage, Carolyn. And it's amazing what it does. As a matter of fact, because of what you told me to do, when I had stomach problems a couple years ago, you told me to go get a massage for a hernia. And it ended up being more like a fascia massage. And it was what was bothering me.
Wow. Right. So you're saying the anticipatoriness, when the body goes to make a movement, the fascia is already moving.
Correct.
Wow.
It's ahead of us. Yeah. I thought it was very, very cool. He had that video up for a couple months, and when people would walk in, he'd want to show it. He's really into educating people. That was a couple years ago. But yeah, I thought that was very, very neat. Very neat.
Okay. Well, we only have a couple of minutes. What would you like to say?
Well, I think we have to let people know that, first of all, the wealth of your information is not limited to this podcast. They can go to drcarolyndean.com and research, find out, read publications, look at old podcasts, listen to the videos and the interviews that you've done for the last couple of years. They're all there, with some very notable people, biohackers, and people that they may follow normally, but maybe they missed that episode. You cannot ever exhaust yourself listening to Dr. Dean. I have been doing it for 15 years, and I learn something new all the time. So please stick with her on that. And then also rnareset.com is where she keeps all of her very precious formulas. And these are formulas that are designed by a doctor. And I can guarantee you, after working in the dietary supplement industry for now over 14 years, that doesn't happen a lot. Okay. They're made by everything from petroleum manufacturers to marketing companies to whack jobs and people who do not even know how the body is biologically constructed. But our formulas are made by a doctor, and they were intended to do doctorly things. So you're going to want to check those out. And then, of course, the very same care got transferred into Pico Pets, which are our pet formulas. And they had to be bottled and labeled for animals. There's a very interesting law in the United States that you cannot do one or the other. So if you've got a dog that's been taking Remag, it has to be distributed through a Remag bottle with the proper dosing on it. And we spent months working on that for everybody. And Carolyn's already formulating even more highly beneficial formulas, nothing else you're going to see on the market as per usual. And they're going to be all there for your pets, which is just absolutely fantastic too. And that's picopets.com. Of course, Pico for the picometer, stabilized ion in all our mineral formulas. So I think that's probably what we needed to tell everybody.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And yes, I want to thank everybody, and just stick with the basics. Get your water intake, do your walking, do your smiling, and try to hook up with organic farmer. Community supported agriculture, CSAs, are all over America. I joined one in Manhattan, for Pete's sakes. And when I moved out to City Island, I got that same farmer to bring food to a group I organized on City Island. You can be associated with organic farming as easy as that. And also look at, I think it's some sort of European Union started to clamp down on home gardens, saying that, I mean, I don't know what it was, what the dangerous or whatever. Seriously, start a home garden. And if anybody tried to clamp down on you, get your community together. You have to start your home garden.
That's right.
Our food supply could be compromised very easily because it's so controlled by big agri.
Very good. Well, everybody's enjoyed this show thoroughly, Carolyn. So many positive comments. Thank you. You are awesome. That's my favorite comment. And you are, Carolyn. We're so happy to be with you and so happy you're with us. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're going to be here next week. Please share the show. Please tell your friends and continue.
Aloha.
You have been listening to Dr. Carolyn Dean, the doctor of the future. Become a member of drcarolyndean.com and get access to all her leading edge of creation information, as well as archives, webinars, and other valuable media resources. Join Dr. Dean and Ginny Almighty same time again next week.